Well, I think your analysis was very straight-lined. History doesn't run in a straight line.
Kid, you cannot tell your neighbor he is stealing ducks when you are stealing frogs.
As High Commissioner, I was wrong. As Charandas Prasad, I reacted naturally how any person would have.
I did not come here for that kind of abuse. I did not come here for that kind of abuse. If you're going to go down that road, I'll walk off.
But it's all okay once they're talking. If they were talking, I could not have been here today.
You got ADHD.
I got nothing.
Calm down.
I think I've done enough in terms of taking our team out of trouble from losing.
Come on, Lou Taylor. That's good. I'm reading the script now, and the first person that comes to my mind to play a detective,
Yes,
but
okay,
an
it's good to
erratic
make
detective is Michael.
Why an African slap an Indian? Why a man and slap a woman? Look, girl, how you deal with that? You deal with that.
We must encourage platforms like this because it brings together different people and allows for discussions to take place in our country on a multiplicity of fundamental issues.
Kingdom, you apologizing for something you think I did is wrong. I don't want you to do that, and you should not have done that. Hi there, welcome to the Freddie Kissoon Show with co-host Akash Persaud. Wherever you are, good evening, good morning, good night, good afternoon. Thanks for being with us once again. We are coming down to 2 years of this program. Thanks so much for enduring with us, but thanks for making this show a success. This evening we have a guest that is very knowledgeable about many things. I will enumerate his organizational status, and you will see that enumeration is longer than the Essequibo River. So here, let's go. I will reel off the occupational assignments of this gentleman, then I will tell you his name. 1, he was the former president of Region 3 Chamber of Commerce. That's the past. The present, he is the chairman of a body named Region 3 Private Sector Inc. Number 3, he is the Region 3 Secretary of Men of Mission. 4, he belongs to Region 3 Tourism Committee. I think he's a chairman there, and he's a treasurer for Men of Mission. So that's 4. 5, he's a chairman of Guyana Solidarity with Cuba Committee. 6, he has a leadership position in Guyana Solidarity Committee with Palestine. And he is one of West Coast's most famous imam. If my memory serves me right, that is 7 statuses of this gentleman. And he is known in Guyana, but in Region 3, he's a household name. My co-host, as usual, is Akash Persaud, and our guest and Akash have something in common. They both live in Region 3. Our guest this evening is Imam and businessman Halim Khan of Region 3. Halim, that's 7 things I enumerated there. You get time to scratch your head?
Yes.
You get time?
Yes.
You get time to walk on. I used to take my wife over Windsor Forest Seawall, pick her up in the afternoon, and we go on there with our daughter and eat. You get time to go and look at the Atlantic Ocean after all those things you're in?
Well, I live opposite the Atlantic Ocean. So my day started at 8 o'clock in the morning and end maybe 1 in the morning.
1 in the morning. This is Akash Persaud. He's been with the Chronicle for 14 years.
There is one more thing that we share in common. You being an imam, I'm also a Muslim.
Yes, Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. And I can tell you that Mr. Freddie Kissoon.
I'm godless.
Yeah,
Yes.
but when we were at the Palestine, one of those things, Freddie was saying Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, and I told him, I said, Freddie, you're many Muslims and many Muslims that I know.
Yeah, because it means God is the greatest.
Well,
That's right, yes.
I'm married. I'm madly in love with a woman I've married for 46 years, and she's a Muslim. So anything she is, I am. Halim, when Region 3, when the bridge has a problem for 3-4 days, agricultural prices go up, you feel the effects in Region 4. That region may be the breadbasket of Guyana. Your comments?
Yes. If anyone could go to the market area, Porica Market, let's use a Saturday evening. There you could get fresh produce, vegetable, fruits, anything you think about. That is why the people from Region 3, especially West Coast, East Bank, Essex, and so on, they look that the age don't tell them because they eat healthy. And eating healthy is one of the things going to make you live longer. But seeing that you asked that question concerning agriculture, Region 3 is one of the places where we have excess produce. And what have made it so good in terms of the agriculture to encourage people to grow more food in terms of food security. First of all, let me say that the president, his initiative with the food security, and Minister Zulfikar is his right choice in putting a Ministry of Agriculture. We have enough food, when I said food or produce in Region 3, is sufficient for Region 3 and also for the other region. As you had mentioned before, concerning when the bridge will be closed off, then you would know the impact which it take concerning food and produce in Region 4. But go on to say about that system have been put in place to encourage those farmers. Can you imagine someone with a bunch of plantain coming out from this farm have to walk 4 miles prior to what should be put in place, farm to market road? This would give the farmers a little bit more advantage in terms to help them. And just not about elaborating concerning the food which we have, you think about the second largest rice producer and exporter is from Region 3 also. So anything you think about food, you think about Region 3. One of the things which we could elaborate on also is that the Minister Zulfikar, if you call him and said the farmers have some problem there, and I could give you an example, whereas in Salem, that is Porica Salem, on that road, because of the years of overboarding have been done 5-6 years ago, nothing had been done on the road. So those farmers had to walk, who don't have a boat, have to walk a very long distance in bringing out the produce. Now, Minister Zulfikar visited there, and soon after he visited there, a week after, a farmer can drive on that road to his farm with a car, not use a pickup. He can drive to his farm with a car. They do an all-weather road, which that could help in terms to help the farmer to bring out the produce. And also they had wanted a shed for when they brought the pineapples and so on. They have put up a shed there so they could have a place where they could store the thing without the sun getting damage it or anything. But what we have so much produce there is that on Thursdays and Fridays, people can go directly to the farm. There's road can go take you to the farmland, and you can buy directly from the farmers in terms of wholesale prices if you want to stuff by the bag or by the bunch of plantain or whatever you think about. Anything you think about in terms of fresh food, fruits and vegetables and so on, Region 3 has it. And you can drive from one place, like if you go into, let's use an area, like just after the Borosiri Bridge, there is a road which could take you from there and take you around to Porrica End. And there you can see what's going on with the farmland and everything else. You can see what's going on there. So Region 3, I must say, everybody knows as the west side. And actually the west side goes with the next phrase.
The best side.
The west side is the best side. And I think we should put up a sign there also to mark, well, across the Demerara Bridge, to mark the gateway to opportunities, Region 3.
Well, as a businessman, you can probably fund that. Akash.
Mr. Khan, I live literally 60 seconds after, as soon as you go over the bridge on the west coast.
Yes.
There is a, you know where JC Supermarket is? There is Harborville Estates, formerly Boodoo Scheme. That's where I am.
Yes.
I have noticed within the last few weeks, and up to yesterday, I saw a new structure. Shops are being put up, selling different things. But yes, I saw a permanent structure, people selling onion and garlic. It's a shop now set up on the parapet. Now, myself and Mr. Freddie Kissoon, we don't have a problem with vending and so on, but it has to be regularized. And at the rate of increase in which these shops are being put up, it is going to be a problem. Now, that bridge is on its, it's going to be finished by March of next year, latest. Regularization across that west coast seems to be an issue, because many times you're driving, you see there are problems with, some stalls are way out on the road and so on, coming up closer to market areas. And so how can we regularize that sort of thing? At the same time, we understand the economic value of vending and people's livelihoods and so on, but there has to be some way in which we can regularize this. What are your thoughts?
Right. This is an excellent idea in terms of regularization of certain shops and so on. We don't want Guyana is one of the country known to be one of the leading economy in the world, right? So we don't want people to come here to Guyana and see we have something looking like shantytown.
That's right. And also it's an encumbrance, because, when you're driving, going there and people got to stop,
This has to do, first of all, the NDCs. The NDC is comprised of chairman and councillors. And each constituency have a councillor. And I think at the statutory meeting, that councillor should report what's going on there. I could have agreed with someone who have a movable, something with a canter or something, come to sell to apply the trade. They're gone. But just don't leave your mess, your garbage when you leave. Take your garbage or don't allow you to sell there. So regularization, people might want to say, oh, the government is not doing anything. If you give them a piece of land to go and to start a sell, to create a market, many of them would not want to go, because everybody wants to stay on the roadside to get their produce or whatever they have to sell. So I would look at it that the NDC, they have to play their role. They have to play their part into making sure that those vendors is not being established there permanently, because to take them off from there after a time, you may have problem. Although I'm the persons who looks into agriculture, everything you think about the West Coast in terms of business, we have all the major business on board with us. We have in terms of agriculture and everything, but then these small men can become big one day, because everybody starts from scratch to create a business. But at the same time, we have to make sure that we stick with the rules of the NDC, not causing any harm for person incoming and outgoing traffic on the roadways. So I think that the best thing which we can do is that the NDC, if they're looking at this program, the NDC is their responsibility to make sure that the roadway is clear properly, and also the traffic officer there, who is in charge of traffic, if he knows this is hindrance for the traffic, then he can request through the NDC also to make sure that they are not way out on the road to cause any traffic jam or any movements of motor vehicles. So with what you have said there, you're totally correct. The bridge is going there. Guyana is one of the place where people come to Guyana, and because of the way the president have made Guyana to that level, with the economy, people continue to come into Region 3. We don't want people to come in Region 3 and everything have a face. And when you come across that bridge, it's the face of Region 3. Similarly with the boat, the water taxi, when you come across that water taxi and you come to Region 3, we shouldn't be seeing an old style and thing. I think that is in place in terms of tourism.
You still have that old style?
Yes, but but I think there is system put in place for that to be put as a tourist point. Someone I understand would put up a hotel, different things around that same area.
Before Mr. Kissoon comes in, I want to add, just as a follow-up to what I spoke about. Now, right where I'm living also, on Friday nights or Saturday night, if you try to go into my community at 8:30, you cannot pass. Because there is a, and I'm not trying to take bread out to anybody more, but we have to bring these things to the table in order for us to fix it. There's a Chinese supermarket, JC supermarket, and patrons go there. It's an off-licensed liquor store where you can buy liquor and go, but people go there to drink. There is now a barbecue stall and people drinking, and to go into our own community, we can't pass at nights because of how they've taken up the place. This is an issue not particularly for that what's happening in my area alone. It happens in many areas. Do you think enforcement is not doing enough?
Not just where you're.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not
just your entrance. All the Chinese and they don't have a place license where you can drink on the premises. All are off license, and what they have been doing is to set up benches, and those are the patrons. They normally comes with a car,
right?
Open
Blast
music and everything else. And I think the enforcement, I think GRA would have to enforce that to make sure that if they're off license, people can be drinking there. And when they also start with their music, places of worship nearby having a problem with that in terms of the drinking, in terms of the noise nuisance and everything. So this is not
sanitary too. They're going to pee about the place.
Right. Yes.
Right. So this we have to clamp down on these. We don't want to be racist, or we don't want the Chinese business, the supermarket where people is drinking, because everywhere the length and breadth of West Demerara, East Bank, in front of every Chinese they have something to sit down and start to a place to drink. We should not encourage that, because, as I said before, we don't want Region 3 as a place of opportunities. Yes, you can ply your trade, but do it in a dignified way, and to make sure that you don't affect other persons. The Chinese, you want to go and purchase from the supermarket and leave and go by a house or something. You want to make music, loud noise nuisance to cause other persons distress, like the older folks or old citizens who are living nearby. I want to give them distress, and persons who are sick. No, we should not allow that. And this thing is getting out of hand.
Yes.
It's getting out of hand, because every Chinese you could pass a Chinese supermarket, there's not licensed, so you could drink there so the public could understand. We have to make sure. There's one next to my place. Also, there's a Chinese, so I told them, I went across here, I said, if you're going to allow people to drink here and you're going to make noise, I'm going to call the police. So one day I was there, I get the police, the music was playing. The police went and warned him to take off his music. When the police left, he started. So I called back the police and said, I'm going to make a statement for this guy. And eventually the police took him to the police station and lodged his music and so on. So is this, although the Chinese are doing that, it is their responsibility for every citizen to make the right call. If it is known that when you're going into your entrance you're having this problem, call the police, because this entrance here is where you're heading towards your home, and also the noise nuisance also the police can handle that. But besides that, the stall or whatever on the road may be affecting persons, then we need to get the NDC, the chairman, involved if the council is not making any report on it.
And these issues that I'm raising with you is not just particular to my area. As you rightly said, it's throughout the length going towards Perico. Mr. Kissoon.
Operator, let's see Halim in action. This was on the anniversary of the presidency of Irfan Ali. No, I withdraw that. I was on that panel. This was the anniversary of the election 2020 results. And I shared a panel discussion with Halim. Operator, can you get that video with
Agriculture presently, but before that, I'd like just to make
we have audio there?
Yes, we have audio.
2 minutes should count before, but just with that. One of the first things, the very first year of achievement in office, I personally will look at it at a different angle. Not what the government would have achieved in the first year of our office, but what benefits the citizens of this country in their first year of office. We have a brilliant president who demonstrates great leadership with a vision, who has put Guyana on top of the map, I must say, around the world. During the first year of office, the PPPC, the government have invested $50 billion to boost the agriculture sector. And the PPPC also had invested some $10.5 billion in restructuring and rebuilding the Guyana Sugar Corporation, which we know as Gaisuku. In doing so, the administration has essentially returned hope to thousands of sugar workers who have lost their jobs due to the closure of 5 sugar estates by the former administration. We know who's those persons. Additionally, too, we can look at the substantial amount of fund which is directed towards improvement of drainage and irrigation throughout the length and breadth of Guyana. Because without the drainage and irrigation, we cannot have a good agriculture area to plant or anything. So with that, the government have pumped in $12 billion into that NDIA program. And just recently, because of the floods, which we had in mid-May also, the government have invested heavily in providing subsidies, in giving the farmers seeds and plants and material to hundreds of farmers. Thank you very much.
Just a correction. I don't know where this 5,000 came from, but this 5,000 has been in the news for the past 6 years. Actually, statistically, it's 7,000. Before you comment on that little speech you gave, I'm looking at you on the screen, and I think we have something in common. Crazy hairstyle. Yeah. You want to talk about that delivery of yours on the first anniversary of President Ali in government?
Yes.
I was there. I was sitting across the table.
Yes.
And I like your delivery.
Yes. So the first anniversary would have shown, first of all, we don't only ask the government what they have done, but we have to see what benefit the citizen of this country. So we have to look at it at that angle. What have benefit the citizen of this country? And if we to look back on that video, that was 2021. And 2021, remember when the government went into power, they didn't have any money at all in terms of spending. Mm-hmm. And there were no new taxes put into that year budget, but instead of there were a reverse in taxes in that year. And if this, we have seen that democracy have played a great role in that very 1 year. if we didn't have that democracy and the US, the UK, and all the other countries, the CARICOM countries which had stand up, myself was a part of the observation team here as an observer for the election. So I know what went on. So that is why on my speech here, I could have told you that the 1 year, if they would have prolonged, then we'd have much more persons who would want to leave this country. But the 1 year which we had, we have to give President Irfan Ali, give him what he deserved, meaning he's a true statesman. He doesn't have any color to deal with. He said, listen, you're a different race or whatever the case. And that came from because he's a Muslim.
And he's a West Coast man like you.
No, I will not bring up the West Coast as yet. He's a Muslim, and we believe that there's no different from a white to a black, nor an Arab to a non-Arab. And Guyana, we don't have 6 races anymore, and there are opportunities for all. And that 1 year which we have seen what they have done for that 1 year, the government, what they have done for that 1 year, is amazing that you come into power. And then one of his way in doing things is not to sit in the office. If somebody call and complain that there's flood in that area, you better believe it, the president would be there as soon as possible with his long boots, and he calling out the subject minister to make sure that he is there to fix their problem. This is where, in history, you would not find a next president like him. In the history, you would not find that. If you look around...
He's a very different man, yes.
Right?
Yes.
He's a different person, not sit in his office, and then he shows on his live streaming to see what is going on. So if someone asks him that, listen, we need this road to fix, he'd make sure that is publicly advertised on his streaming. So that road will be getting fixed, the drain or whatever. And the person who are responsible in that area, those persons, they have to answer why this drain is not dug, and this road is like this, you know. So with that 1 year, which myself and you, one of the things was Gaisuku, where that 5 sugar estates were closed. And that was, that's when you made that comment, was 5,000, I think, or 7,000, right? But then
by extension, 52,000 families affected.
Right. So with this, we have seen that with the one Guyana, which our president have put, let's move off a little bit from the 1 year. We have seen that everybody, I think that only a man who doesn't have a conscience would think that the government is not doing anything.
The anti-I lobby.
Right. Can you imagine that he's seeking now to have, and you would see just today, actually think with that $11 billion into the student loan to write off. And where else in the world can you get a house lot for just over $1,500 in the US? That may be your monthly rent for some of the places. And the recipient of those house lots is from around age from 23 to about 35 years old. So all this here is telling you that with that 1 year when they were in office, compared with it, adding some other years, we could agree that the budget, which is $1.146 billion, which was $1 trillion, which was most fueled by the oil and gas. And his commitment is prosperity for all. And we have seen that prosperity has been happening. Is not the man who say things and they don't make it happen. He also, those ministers who he has, and no other country in the world you'll find that the president out on the street listen to this.
Yeah, he's made his mark in Guyana with that methodology.
No, it's going to be hard to. I would look at it as a mark in Guyana, but it's an example for the world to see this is what you need. Not only when you're ready to vote, then you go to houses and you ask, vote for me and be nice to them. I'm going to do this, I will do the next. What he have done, he's distinguished himself in world politics with that kind of methodology.
Yes. But before you go on, you and him were go match? You're both West Coast boys, you're around the same age. Would you have encountered him while growing up?
No, but if I had to say my age, you have to call me uncle.
Okay, but then you look good, man.
Yeah, this man ain't got no gray hair like
Where you eating? Where you eating?
West Coast food.
Foods.
No. Something from the hills of Afghanistan. Some herb you're drinking.
No. It's all come from the herb from our land on the West Coast.
Yeah, but go on. Yeah.
Yes. So he's living just a couple village from me. I live in Medemezar.
He's Eleanor.
So he's right there, and look at him growing up. My father, his father, we know each other because they're education people, provide.
His mother was a teacher. Yeah.
Yes, and his father was, the last job he had was MIA, which is in Medemezar.
What's MIA?
Something academy.
Oh, okay.
Islamic Academy. Medemezar Islamic Academy.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's still there.
It's still there. But his last job there was that, and then everybody know him. And then their friend, president now, he was groomed into the system because he was working finance. And finance, then he moved on to housing. So he knows, and then he grew up in the area, not with a golden spoon in his mouth. So growing up and passing through all those levels, he knew exactly what the people want, what they're short of, which he missed out. That is why he goes to the field, go on the ground. And what he said before the election, that when he gets in there with his cabinet, that they will come in running. And we are seeing that after 4 years, that they are still running. Meaning running to make sure that they fulfill their obligation, what they promise the people. Some people may want to say that there's not opportunity for all, especially some persons from other races. They might say there's not opportunity for them, that there's no job for the youths and so on. And they have complained to an organization from overseas, so they came to the country. So I spoke to one of the representatives. I was there with them. So they said, I want you to listen to this, that the people don't have any job. So I told that individual, I don't want to call his name on the program, to bring 200 youths. Next Saturday, I will organize the contractors together and organize the oil and gas people who may want thing, but don't bring people who are rowdy. Don't bring anyone who's smoking marijuana or what the case may be. Bring people who are not coming to work. When you finish Saturday, we got to call you until you come to work back Thursday, as the Guyanese, they're accustomed to. So bring people who generally want job.
Anybody come?
The person who I contacted, I spoke to him the day before. He said, yes, I'm going to be there with 200. If not 200, at least 100. He never shows up on the day when we had the job fair. Neither he may not have invited one of them because nobody shows up. So you see, they want to paint Guyana, as some political party might want to paint Guyana, that this government is an Indian government, they're not doing anything for any other race. But I have experience, and presently now will be on air, and I could attest to this. And anyone who needs a job, whether it be a operator of any heavy equipment, you need anything, any job, you're a mechanic, you're a mason or anything, can contact Mr. Freddie and Akash.
Yeah, just contact, look,
yes.
My number and yes, and I will get on to Akash. Numbers on the screen every Friday evening. My cell phone is 614-5927.
And how could they get onto the PSI?
It's 630-8410.
And the PSI is the private sector, Region 3 Private Sector Inc. My question has to do with that, the private sector. Tell us about your affiliations. I know that sometime back you had listed that you had a number of contractors already registered with private Region 3 Private Sector Inc.
Yes.
Tell us about your affiliation, whether you have local affiliation, any international affiliation with training and that sort of stuff. Tell us a little bit, and what is the vision of the PSI?
All right. It's good you bring up that question concerning or affiliation. Presently now, we have the oil and gas sector. We have the gas to shore, which is coming on our region. And in fact, we have to gear in terms for safety. I bring this up first, so we should understand that. And that safety comes that we have the gas to shore energy, which will come on board soon. It will start, the pipes and so on running. But that by itself, it needs safety. And that safety would have come from the Guyana Fire Service. Is the Guyana Fire Service equipped to deal with anything towards that if there is a fire? I don't think no, because sometimes they're now putting in hydrants and so on in different areas in cases of houses start or business and so on. They now start to do that. I should commend the Minister Ben to making sure that's his ministry. But what we'd like to see that these officers have much more training in oil and gas. Not a particular region, but it must be incumbent upon every officer must have training in terms of oil and gas. So if there is any fire anywhere, they can come on board. And presently now, for a number of months, I've been talking to someone from University of West Indies, Professor Clyde Phillips, and he have offered to bring into Guyana training. He's not looking for any contracts. What he's looking for is that when you see, especially in our country here, we are a sister country with Trinidad and Tobago, he wants to offer his technical support in terms for the same training, because he's the founder for the fire engineering at the University of the West Indies. I think, Freddie, you may probably know Professor Clyde Phillips. And he also is in charge for the founder for Latin America and South America, that fire engineering. So we might want to say whatever we have, but we have to put health and safety. The health and safety come very first of anything. And since that we are a developing region, we should have those things in place, not only for Region 3, but the other region, because people who is looking at the show, they might want to say I'm biased. I'm only talking for Region 3. But I'm the only one who didn't leave this country. We are 12 brothers and sisters.
Wow, your parents didn't waste time.
Also, I may have 10 too, you know. So,
you have 10 children?
You stop or you still going?
That's a joke?
No, I have 10 children.
You have 10 children?
Yes.
So you followed in your parents' footsteps?
No, procreation is important, and Guyana only have, less than 1 million people?
Yeah, 780,000.
Right. So that is why we short of employ people to work in our industry.
Halim, you just made me realize I've contributed to the problem in this country. I only got one picnic.
Right. I have one too. But Halim, I'll tell you something, Halim. I could not afford more than one, but I know you could afford 20.
No, at the time when I had my children, it was very hard. In Guyana, the economy wasn't that good.
Good.
But tell us about the contractors.
Yes.
Remember the last year you had 60
So,
one of the last time I saw one of the reports, you had about 60 contractors.
60 contractors
registered, yes. How much they gone to now?
No, it's bypassed that by maybe about 100 now. I didn't take count the last count which I have. But an investor can come to our region with his hands closed, fold, without any equipment. We go from logging. We are equipped with person who own the forestry concession. Logging. We have from the raw material to the finished product, meaning from the logging to lumber to furnitures.
Yeah.
So we have people like that. In terms of heavy equipment, rental, we can get that. And anyone could test that. You have something to do, just call me. And 1 hour time, you have a machine at your place ready to do your job as long as the competitiveness is there. Land and sea transport. If you want to move an equipment from one point to the next, if you need sea transport to whether you want to move stone, whether you want to bring anything else on the sea transport, we have that. In terms of mining also, we have persons from mining. Basically, anything you need, Region 3 have the answer to your problem or whatever you might want to do. So any investors, they can come with their hand closed, their hand fold, and they could get anything which you need, whether heavy equipment rental, or you need a contractor, small, medium, and large contractors. You need suppliers. We have Gafours with us on board, and sometimes I make arrangement with them so these contractors get an extra percentage off. Especially now, since that we are building some of the contractors is building the low-income house, which is like 5.3. There's not nothing much you can make from it, but they have had. I encourage contractors from all different areas. So, and that would help because each contractor would have like about 10 workers that create job. They might take sand from somewhere. They might take other material to work. So we have these small houses too, which is the president initiative, the low income. We have at least we have like about 50 contractors working on those houses presently now. So 50 by 10 is like 500 workers you have created job for. It's just not that you have a problem, but you have to find a solution.
Absolutely.
And the solution is what we see our president, Dr. Irfan Ali, he's finding a solution almost to anything.
Operator, could we see another dimension in the life of Halim Khan? Could you show us the other side of Halim Khan? Please show us that.
Freddie, that is one of the marches that you were on to, right?
Yeah. I was in about 5 events or 6 events in support of Palestine, and he was in all 6, and you could see from what he was doing, he is in the leadership. So there is the Guyana Solidarity Committee with Palestine. I think they have all the marches and symposia that I've been in. They were arranged and organized by that organization. And you could see the way he was going about and the things he's doing, he had a big part to play in that. So tell us about that other aspect of your life. All those 10 children are Muslims?
Well, you have to. I won't answer that.
You have to.
I won't have to answer it. Yeah.
So I see you in all these in the leadership roles, directing things.
Who would have known me from the West Coast or Region 3 or anywhere else in other regions? They will tell you that anywhere there is help needed, or if I see that there is someone needs support, you will find me there. This march which we had, it also have Guyana stands with Palestine. Also, there's a group of the university students who helped also in that march. And that would have shown that we are not looking at Palestine as a Muslim state or Muslim. We are looking at them as human beings. Mm-hmm. They are not numbers. They are not numbers, they have a name. And as such, when they say 20 killed, 100 get bombed, or so on, and yet the world play a blind eye. Tomorrow would mark the 76th anniversary of the Nakba, whereas the Palestinians were put out of their homes and their land, 1948. Mm-hmm. And in that war, the cleansing, they never went back, they never get to come back to the land. And the atrocities which is going on now, the genocide which is going on, I'm surprised that the Muslim country did not take up that matter to the ICC, and it comes from the from
South Africa.
And South Africa, they have lived in apartheid.
Yeah, they know what it is.
And they know what it is. But when they
who knows it feels it. Yeah.
Right. So when they are seeing what is happening to the Palestinian, them is much more worse than what they passed through. So our part in this side of the world, we don't want to fight with the government. We know our president, his support, and he was part of that fundraising, which there was
the Ramadan village,
in the Ramadan, $110 million. So the only thing which we can do here, we can hate it with our heart, but we have to show that support by way of marching without disrupting the government agency or anything. We can march peacefully or rally peacefully, because I cannot see that the whole world is looking that you have some hostage you want to bring. The house don't put up a board up and said, listen, there's hostage here, don't bomb here. They're bombing every house you could think about. Anywhere they go, they bomb everything, so they don't care about the hostage. They not care about we look.
Yeah, they have bombed and killed hostages. Yeah.
Right. So they have their aim and objective. And that aim and objective, what they have is that they have the oil field 1 and 2, whereas they had planned just 3 weeks before, Netanyahu would have shown a map to show that they would have something bus across, a road bus across to Gaza Strip. So everybody wanted to know how this is going to happen. And we see today that 3 weeks after what have happened, I think that whole thing with October the 7th was staged. Because they continue bombing women, children. We have how many children being bombed? Whole family being wiped out. So all these here, what we have seen on national television is that you have to say, well, listen, they're lying. You've seen what has been happening, the whole Gaza being destroyed. And Gaza is just like from Georgetown to Porica. We're like 3 miles in width. And part of it is just like about 12 miles in with just a very small portion. I've went there and I've seen that how many persons, with how they displace. If a Israeli Zionist, I would not say Jew, they have good Jews. The Zionists want that house, one of the settlers. How can you come from a next country, or say for instance somebody come from Trinidad and come to your house and say, I'm a settler, and throw you out of your house, and with the army on your side, throw you out of the house, and you cannot do anything, and you have to live on the streets. People have to wake up in this world, and we have seen many of the universities. This was a very small march we have, peaceful demonstration in some of the rallies, the vigil, and so on. We must commend the government to support, especially Rodriguez, who is at the UN.
Marquette Rodriguez, our ambassador to the UN.
Yes, with her fiery speech concerning Palestine. And not just Palestine, also, we have to look what's happening in Cuba with this embargo with these people.
Okay, well, let's stop there. Let's stop there and ask the operator.
Yes.
You also the chairman of Ghana Solidarity with Cuba.
Yes.
What was that about?
So this was 176 years anniversary of Jose Martin. So this is the one there. But we have seen that the economy blockade, which you have on Cuba, an unjust blockade just because you don't like a regime. Every country which is a sovereign country, I don't think anyone should have any say or to dictate what is good for you. Let the people choose that. When you think you're sending an embargo or putting an embargo on a country, look what happened in the country. But that's testimony that 20 years ago, Guyana didn't have so many doctors. Their army, what they have, and if they want to call Cuba a terrorist state too, their terrorists have on coats, white coats, tending to people who are sick, who need surgery. Those are the white coats. We have to make sure when we look at something and say that the government of Cuba is not good, let us look for 70 countries. They have produced 50,000 doctors to 70 countries. And they have an embargo on them.
They're bringing some now in Guyana to work on the power situation. We have Cuban nurses coming.
Yes.
They have been very good in providing medical assistance to the third world.
Yes. Let's go back to the PSI, the private sector Inc. Of Region 3.
Of which he is chairman.
Yes, of which you're the chairman. What is the corporate social responsibility, the CSR, the corporate social responsibility of the CSR, and it goes across the portfolio of what the Region 3 is. There are various villages that are, and there are temples and Hindus and Muslims and a mixture of all kinds of people. They had the Baha'is and so on. Mm-hmm. What is this corporate social response, this CSR of the PSI, and how are you going to enhance the wills and fix the ills, because there are quite a few on that side?
All right. I'll give you a perfect example. If someone's house is on fire,
mm-hmm.
you will find that the Region 3 private sector, their members, and also the MOM, also since that I'm the treasurer for the Region 3 MOM, you'll find that the chairman for the region...
We have to tell our viewers, MOM, Men of Mission.
Men on Mission, before the niggas a mom, right? Yeah, Men on Mission. So you'll find that we'll be the first one to go there while the fire is going on to make sure to see how we can help. And for some of them, we help them with the very first day to make sure that they have a place to stay with the family member, but make sure that they have a mattress or whatever the case may be. From the day one, we try to help them and to make sure that we help in such a way to make sure that the house are being built back. And I give you that one example because in a disaster like that, right, our responsibility. The other responsibility is Men on Mission too, and is be backed by a business person from the Region 3 private sector, that they may have someone who have 3 children or 4 children, and they may have somebody with disability. We look at it in terms of building houses for them. So we look at the most priority ones, and so build something where they can be comfortable. As long they have the land, I would look at it, it is the responsibility, because my religion taught me that a good Muslim would not see his neighbor, none one is a good Muslim, and see his neighbor go hungry. So I might see some of the children on the street. It is our responsibility. And I would check, find out where the family and they don't go to school.
Mm-hmm.
The Region 3 private sector, they would make sure that they have book bag, make sure that they have school uniform and everything, and make sure they go to school. So all this have been put together in terms of our social responsibility for our community. And I think that why we have much of the pastor, the pandits, and the imams and various other parts in the community, everybody goes to church whether Sunday or Friday, so you know your community. So I'm asking them, I'm requesting from them, if you know of anyone from your community who need help, then reach out to us, because on board with us we have a pastor, we have a pandit, and we have an imam, which is me, on that board of the Men on Mission. So this helps also. So the Men on Mission, the finance will be fuel from the private sector.
That is commendable, I must say.
So let's see, we dealt with, you were chairman of Region 3 Chamber of Commerce. We dealt with that. We dealt with Region 3 Private Sector Inc. We brought in Men of Mission, Cuba Solidarity, Palestinian Solidarity. Then you are the chairman of Region 3 Tourism Committee. I wonder if our operator could show you this thing here. Operator, could we show him what we saw at the playground at Windsor Forest?
This is outside the First Lady's place at Windsor Forest there. And I was there at night, and I was appalled to see the amount of garbage floating in front of this place. Like, how can citizens, and I'm blaming the citizens, can be so irresponsible? Such a beautiful place, but then you have garbage, and then there are businesses around there.
In the trench.
The businesses around there should also ensure that
All right. I will answer to that.
Yeah.
On a daily basis, the region have employed 10 days workers to come through the region. And every day, if it's not the one set who will work in the 10 days, there's a next set come to make sure that the plants will be getting water, make sure that the surrounding have been kept clean, and also they have a business there on board, which their commitment that they have to make sure that the park is clean, is kept clean. But if you look at that drain, it's connected with the trench.
Right. That's the trench. Yeah, that's the trench. Actually,
right. So this here is a trench. So it's not necessary that the persons who go to the park throw that inside. It could have come from the trench floating from the farther down Windsor Forest head and get into that drain. Not necessarily those persons who goes there, but then somebody who is responsible for the park. I know the Region 3 private sector from the persons from that area help to maintain that park, and also the Larry Trade Park too, also in terms of tourism. But that's garbage. I mean, somebody didn't look at it probably, but we need to put things in place to make sure that that's something occurred. And because if you have a beautiful play park and you have these cans and bottles and so on around, in fact, we have dengue going around. So we don't want no mosquitoes be harbored there and then come. But if you look at the trench, maybe that small area there, you just notice that the water dry up there. So maybe it come from the trench farther up to come into that area. But I will talk to the chairman soon after I finish here, because I promised him I'm going to pass in there, and to make sure that that's been picked up by the 10 days workers.
Okay, our operator signaled to me we have 2 minutes more. I wrote a column. I visit Drive Sunday with my wife, and Region 3 is one of our favorite places. We go to Purika Market. And I wrote a column saying that anybody who does not believe there's development in Ghana, they have to go to Region 3 to see. This is not the place where 15 years ago my wife and I used to go every Sunday. It's challenging Georgetown to be with a minute left. You want to tell us about the transformation of Region 3, and if it is now the challenger to Georgetown. It looks so.
All right. You see, they said the correct word and name it correctly. Georgetown is a tongue. So we'll have the transformation, I think, from the bridge. I think the president should have changed that to the city of region of West Coast Demar or something, change it to the city.
It's rapidly becoming that.
It's becoming that, because we see the huge transformation in terms of infrastructure, the hospitals, the schools, you name it, you can find it there. And then now you would see construction. The very poorest man, you will find he trying to put up a concrete structure or something. You find the whole Region 3 has been transformed since since this president, Dr. Irfan Ali, have come on board. But before I left with this one thing about Gaza, I just want to...
Yeah, man, we have a minute more. Yeah.
According to the Geneva Convention, people fighting or not fighting, there is a law which protects the wounded, the sick, or the prisoner of war. It provides, they have to provide human and medical treatment, and they have to be protected from murder and torture, and must protect the facilities and medical personnel. What have we, the world have been witnessing the asking the IDF, the Zion army, is asking you to evacuate an hospital, and we find that you've seen it in the news, in the media too, many mass grave with hundreds of persons there, buried alive. And according to what they might say, the Palestinian, them or the Hamas are terrorists, anybody occupy an occupier for your land, you have is international law, so you have the right to resist. So I would not say the people of Gaza and so on is terrorists, but they're resistant fighters for their land.
But in the third world, we don't refer to Hezbollah and Hamas as terrorists. We don't.
Right.
The third world has a different
And we have seen that how many bombs have been sending from the Western countries to them. We're sending bombs for you, seeing how many people have been killing. You see, we have seen too also that how many the aid trucks have been destroyed. Everything these Israeli settlers. I must say they're not settlers in Guyana. What we call, if you come to take my land, I call you a thief man. That's the term we just use here. So I said it thieves them for the Palestinian land, what they're grabbing and what they want to take from them. It's not right to take them their land away, and they have the right to resist. And we have seen that what's been happening, the genocide, and we have seen that not just Muslims. We have seen that the non-Muslims have been picking up that's more than the Muslims in around the world.
Our operator said this has been very interesting.
Yes.
We've touched on all the dimensions of your activity. We enumerated 6 organizations you're in, and of course you're imam, so you have to pray for a sinner like me. Before we go, we have the same hairstyle. My wife has been cutting my hair for 46 years.
Same goes to me.
Your wife cuts your hair, so you see.
So you said, well, you don't use a comb, but
Right.
I said, no, I'm okay with it.
Right, I know. And finally, I took my wife many times to eat at your restaurant. So after this evening, you have to call your manager and say, anytime Freddie Kissoon come in there, 20% discount.
Oh, no, I go into.
You give Akash to. But the restaurant is doing all right, and it's...
Yes.
Yeah, I had some nice food there. So just pick up your phone. Anytime Freddie Kissoon comes in and Akash Persaud, no, don't give him no 20%. When Freddie Kissoon comes in there...
I get it free. Listen, there's one thing that me and Mr. Kissoon has in common, not our hairstyle. Mine is well combed if you look at me. But we share a passion for Wakenham. I hope you're doing something for Wakenham. Because we're going to come down upon you know.
Yes.
We're passionate about that island.
We have...
our time is up, but...
If he doesn't do anything for Wakenham, we're going to hold a picket outside this
Yeah, that's right, yeah. If you don't do anything for Wakenham, we come in.
The restaurant is doing well, though.
Region 3, well, I can't complain. When people claiming that when the government now come in office and there was a little short recession, right? People was asking, some people, other business was asking, how's the restaurant doing? I said, I use the word alhamdulillah, I mean, all praises for God. What is for you? Your sustenance to you.
We gotta go. Listen, it's nice being here.
Yes.
I truly enjoyed the conversation.
All right.
Our guest this evening was a name that resounds in Region 3.
Noel.
Everybody knows him there as Noel. His real name is Halim Khan, one of the business people, one of the philanthropists that is known throughout Region 3. Thanks for being with us. We will see you in the next episode. On behalf of Noel, Halim Khan, and my co-host Akash Persaud, and the beloved region of Halim Khan, Region 3. Catch you later. Bye-bye.